Hi, I'm Panty, and I'm here with spunat.ie.
Every now and then I get a little bit lonely and you never come around. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of listening to the sound of my tears. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit nervous that the best of all the years have gone by. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit terrified and then I see the look in your eyes.
I'm from County Mayo, a place called Ballinrobe, County Mayo. And I lived there till I was 12. And then I went to boarding school where my grandmother lived. And then I went to art college in Dublin. And then I did my traveling the world bit, and I lived in Tokyo in Japan for 5 years. And then I came back to Dublin on a visit and ended up staying. Well, I mean, I'm a straight up drag performer as against a transvestite or something, and it was never really a plan. I mean, when I was, you know, a teenager, the idea that someone could make a living as a drag queen was just, it never even entered my mind. I mean, I'd never really seen any drag artists. At the time, the only drag queen that, you know, would have been in any way known in Ireland was Mr. Pussy. And but I was in art college, and I guess I was some sort of frustrated performer, and I ended up doing a drag show just for the fun, really, but also because in art college it allows, doing a drag show allows you to do a lot of design elements. You can design costumes and sets and, you know, posters, and, you know, there's a lot of design elements that go into a drag show, and they're all sort of design elements that one person can take on their own. It's a very sort of autonomous sort of career. So I sort of did that just as an exercise in design more than anything else. Oh, but obviously I thought it was fun. I had seen drag shows and everything. And then, you know, somebody offered me a little work after they saw that silly show, and then that led to another and led to another, and you know, there was no life plan. I just sort of fell through it, really. You know, performing is an exciting and sort of an adrenaline rush. You know, so for me, the fact that it was in drag is really, you know, I like the creative aspects of drag. You know, you know, it involves makeup and painting and creating looks and everything. So it is creative and fun, and of course I like the fact, or, you know, that it's a little taboo breaking or a little shocking. You know, it's fun to play with gender.
I think you can't change what? I'm sick of crap out of it. I cannot change. I'm sick of being disappointed. I'm sick of all of it. I ain't sick of being disappointed. Honestly, I am. No, you're not. If you were sick of being disappointed, you would stand up and you would take control of your destiny. Do you know that you have a possibility to win? Do you know that all of America is rooting for you? Do you know that? And then you come in and you treat this like a joke? You come in here and look at that and say, I can't read that. You read 10 times better than half of those girls over there.
Yeah, you did.
And you come here with a defeatist attitude. I don't have a bad attitude. Maybe I am angry inside. I've been through stuff, so I'm angry. Yeah, but it's not so quiet, but everybody be quiet. That's what it's on to be. Stop it! I have never in my life yelled at a girl like this. When my mother yelled at this, it's because she loves me. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? Learn something from this. You go to bed at night, you later, you take responsibility for yourself. Because nobody's going to take responsibility for you. You roll in your eyes and you act like this because you've heard it all before. You've heard it all before. You don't know where the hell I come from. You have no idea what I've been through. But I'm not a victim. I grow from it and I learn. Take responsibility for yourself.
No, I'm not worried about what other people think, because really it's none of their business. And also, you know, I live in a world where nobody cares. You know, I'm not, you know, living in, I don't know, Ballyhonus. Do you know what I mean? There's lots of, you know, sort of unusual characters where I live, you know, so that's really not an issue. The only time that it does sort of slightly annoy me is when, you know, people have a very set idea of what they think drag is, or a drag show is, or what drag queens are, mostly because they haven't been exposed to many, so they saw one on holidays once and they think, okay, that's what a drag queen is, and it's usually some sort of, well, you know, sort of dreary English, you know, style pub drag or something. But of course there are many different kinds of drag queens and styles of drag, from, you know, crazy performance art stuff to comedy to whatever. You know, in the same way that there are many different kinds of stand-up comedians, there are many different kinds of drag queens. So, you know, people, you know, it's a very free sort of form, and you can make of it what you will. And bizarrely, my parents knew that I was doing drag before they knew I was even gay, which seems so ridiculous to me, but, you know, they just didn't get it, you know, and I had to really spell it out to them, you know, yes, I'm gay! You know, and they were sort of shocked, you know, which just seems so bizarre to me. But I think they just thought I was arty and performy, you know. So, but my parents are great, you know, I'm sure secretly in the back of their mind they would have wished if I'd become a doctor or whatever. I mean, what parent wouldn't? But, you know, they got over it very quickly, and, you know, they've been to my shows, and it's all good. It's not easy, there aren't that many opportunities, and you really have to make all of your own opportunities for yourself. And it's funny, when I was, you know, 17 or whatever, there were no drag shows and drag queens around, so it never entered my head that you could have a career out of it. Whereas now, of course, there are loads of young drag queens, because they've seen people like me and other queens of my generation who have made a living out of it, and they kind of see that as a perfectly reasonable expectation to make a living as a drag queen. But, you know, there aren't that many opportunities, there are only so many places you can perform or whatever, and you really need to carve out all your own opportunities. I mean, I have always, you know, I've always promoted my own club nights, my own events. Of course I do perform at other events and that, but, you know, the driving force has always been me creating my own opportunities. So if you want to be a drag performer, you need to be a self-starter. You know, make your own path in life. You know, nobody else can tell you what's right for you, so make up your own mind about everything. Question everything that anybody tells you. Don't just accept it as the truth. Work it out for yourself.
Nothing I can say,